Doesn't it feel like Hollywood keeps recycling the same stories, the same IP, the same franchises over and over again? Are you bored of the stale, cookie cutter, rinse and repeat formula that the studios keep feeding us? Well, consider contributing to my Indiegogo campaign, Urban Luxury. It's a 6-part anthology series that deals with the commodification of Black cultural representation. I was inspired to write this series because I used to work at one of those high-end cultural urban e-commerce companies that prided themselves on being part of the culture. But honestly, the culture that they're trying to sell us feels very different than the culture that I've experienced throughout my entire life. So if you're looking to support something that's original, fun, thought-provoking, and edgy, support Urban Luxury on our Indiegogo page. The clock is ticking, so we need your help right now.
Smile 2. For those who don't know, I actually wasn't the biggest fan of the first one. I thought it was really good, and I could see, because Parker Finn, of course, like, this was based off of a short story, and essentially that short story, which is called Laura Hasn't Slept, was the opening scene of Smile. And I don't know if the working title is out there, but when I saw the film, there was the working title for Smile before it was called Smile. And I really, really enjoyed that. And I could see elements of his kind of personality all over the place, but then I just thought it was a little bit too much, maybe like studio holding back a little bit, because like he cooked a lot with like the practical effects and things like that. But with this one, I think after the success of the first one, I think they let him really have fun with it. So I just saw so much more like confidence, personality in his direction. I think Smile showed a lot of promise, and this one he really, really ran with it. So all of that to say, I really actually enjoyed this one, and I was super surprised about that. Of course, I never go into a film thinking, you know, like I'm expecting to not like this or whatever. But I just had no expectations, and it really did blow me away. Naomi Scott was absolutely incredible. I think that's the biggest thing, is that when we're following a character in a film like this for, you know, we're seeing the breakdown of their psyche, and especially in the place that her character starts at, it's already not a good one. So as everything continues, she just was able to transform into something on screen that like I haven't seen from her yet. It was really, really cool to see her flex like that. Even like a lot of the supporting characters, Lukas, Gage, the woman who plays her mom, the woman who plays her assistant, because for those who don't know, she's a pop star, which makes all of this so much crazier. I think they were able to go to new heights, showing how this kind of like curse really envelops your entire like mind. And yeah, the ending was really, really fun. I think there was a lot of really interesting ways that they took the story and like where it could potentially go in the future. It's like so much bigger, because I felt like the first one was definitely very, very contained. And also shout out to Kyle Gallner. That's my Scream King always. He was in the first one. Love to see him in literally everything. Also shout out Dinner in America. So yeah, the embargo just lifted, so I'm able to talk about it a little bit more. I just really like everything that Parker Finn did with this one. I like that he took this story to new heights. It felt very ambitious, and you know, I always give credit where credit's due. So yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah, talk to me a little bit more about Naomi Scott's transformation, because I can't lie, I found out like a week ago, or like less than a week ago, that was Naomi Scott. I saw posters, I saw trailers, and I was like, oh, cool, Smile 2. I had no idea that was her. I had no clue. Maybe it was a wig. I think that threw me off. Is she wearing a wig, or is she just blonde hair? But it just threw me off. It just threw me off.
Yeah, I think she just cut her hair shorter, bleached it. It definitely fits kind of with that whole like pop star persona. She's a pop star that kind of has that little edge to her. Think of like someone like a Miley Cyrus, like some of that like alt edge. She was absolutely fantastic. Like, I think that this is a film that has the potential now to get her so many other roles moving forward, because I feel like after Charlie's Angels, even after like Aladdin, she just wasn't like, people didn't really give her the credit for what she brought to those films, just because maybe they weren't as beloved. I know a lot of people talk about the Disney live action of it all. Really interesting though, because like naming all of these, you know, Aladdin, Charlie's Angels, these are all like have built-in audiences going into the film, but those didn't do that much for her career. And I feel like this 100% will. I do anticipate that it's probably going to do extremely well at the box office. Of course, it's the season for it. And yeah, it's honestly like a really fun treat. I'm actually going again to see it tomorrow, which for this type of film and for the fact that I didn't really care about the first one too much, it's a big deal for me to see it twice in 1 week. I liked Trap. I don't know if you guys saw Trap. I really liked it, but one of the issues that I had with Trap was that, you know, for Lady Raven, we don't really see any like cool production. We don't really see too much of her kind of like pop persona, but I think that Smile 2 remedied that entirely for me. I think some of the costuming, the set design, the choreography, dance sequences, and how they kind of intermingle like a lot of her personality and her world into how the smile curse is affecting her, I think is super, super unique, so fun. As far as like a pop girl goes in a horror or thriller for this year, this is the one that did it the best, in my opinion. I really, really like that one.
Just scary. Is it scary?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So for the first one, I did see, and it kind of, again, goes back with that, like either, I don't know, of course, from like Parker J. Finn's perspective, if he just wasn't as confident in what he was creating. But I felt like a lot of the jump scares in the first one were very cheap. They just weren't as effective for me. I didn't find it to be that scary. This one changes that entirely because there's so many other added layers. And for anyone who saw the first one again, grief plays a role, all of these other aspects, and that does in this film as well. We love to see, you know, metaphors for grief and allegories all over the place. But it works so well and it feels very organic with this one, especially, you know, Jesse T. Usher it was in the first one playing like kind of a shitty boyfriend role. But it's more so because the curse like alienates you from everybody else in your life. So it makes sense that from an outsider's perspective, you're like, no, you're crazy, you're struggling with something and this isn't real. But the way they do it in this film just works so well for me. And it was very scary. The jump scares worked. I did jump. I kind of like had some popcorn flown around at some points. I'm sorry to had to clean that up. I tried to clean up after myself. But yeah, I was really, really impressed. That's like the main thing that I took from this film. And I'm really excited to see if they make a third or whatever Parker J. Finn does next.
Now, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
You know, I'm looking forward to this movie. One of the big reasons I'm looking forward to it is because they keep putting Jack Nicholson's son on every single poster. I, as a Laker fan, I feel like I am contractually obligated to support anything the Jack Nicholson lineage does. Is he in it a lot, or are we kind of being catfished a little bit?
He is very integral to the film.
Okay.
He's very important. And he is in there, and he does have, honestly, one of my favorite scenes, like one of this, like, not even scary in terms of like a horror movie, but just scariest scene in the film was a scene between him and Naomi Scott. And I thought that was so incredibly acted. That one is very haunting and has stayed with me.
Nah, I'm hyped for that. That's he you know, just putting him in the movie is a selling ticket for me alone. That's the only Nepo baby I gotta support. So
yeah,
the Nicholson bloodline is crazy.
Right.
Yeah, that's insane. I'm with you every three in the Lakers fan aspect of it all. I mean, you have to ask the fact that he's been supporting for so long.
Yeah, they gave him
it's hysterical
Hall of Fame thing. But yeah, no, I'm excited for it, and I'm very much, because I know the first one was supposed to go directly to streaming. So does this feel like even you're saying it's like bigger and better? Is it like a higher budget than the first one, or still kind of in that same?
Oh my gosh, it's so apparent. Because, yeah, obviously the first Smile, it test screened really well. And then so that's when they made that decision to put it out in theaters. And I'm so glad that they did. I think we see that kind of a lot. And we talk about it with that growing trend of like how many films can easily just get buried for no reason on a streaming platform. It's on Netflix one day. It's like number 3 top streaming of the day. And then it's completely gone. And we basically never hear about it again. So I think this is a really good example of, first of all, trusting your filmmakers that you work with. Clearly he made magic and he made a splash with his short film at the time. So this was like, especially for a horror film too in theaters, because we know how well they do. A lot of the times you will make your budget back as long as it's like smaller, but this one so much bigger. Like I was talking about with that like set design, the costuming, the way her moments as a pop star are shown on screen is so insane. Like genuinely, I was sitting there and I'm like, I'm a fan of her fake character, which is Sky Riley. I like became a fan of hers. So yeah, that was absolutely stunning. And it's what I wanted to see in Trap that I felt like I was missing. Like I wanted to see a little bit more like, you know, M. Night Shyamalan talked about how the Eras Tour kind of inspired him to create this. But I didn't see any of that with Lady Raven because it was just like her on stage, like 4-ish backup dancers at any given time. And there wasn't really that much actually going on the stage. Could have done some pyro, could have done some like really cool choreography or colors. And then that's what Parker J. Finn came into and like definitely did with this film. The outfits are incredible. The choreography is insane. There's two of my favorite scenes. The one I was talking about between the characters, which I don't want to say anything about either of these, but then there's another one where there's like a group of Smile people in her apartment. And that one is such a standout with the way they choreographed those people coming at her is just insane. So yeah, it does feel like towards the end it can get like a little bit derivative, and we did see some of the moments in the first film that kind of are like reflected here, which it makes sense because they're going through the same thing, and the smile curse is constantly tricking you, and there's only so many ways that you can kind of show that. But this one is one that I will definitely revisit a lot more than I would ever the first one, even though I love Kyle Gallner. Kyle Gallner stands in the chat. Where you at?
Nah, that's what's up. Yeah, now I'm excited. I'm hyped. I definitely got to peep this one out for sure.
Yeah, when it comes to this one compared to Terrifier, I mean, obviously there's no comparison because it's two different movies. Yep. But I do feel like, you know, people go in and like they're like, oh, let's watch a horror movie. And I'm curious if they pick this one over Terrifier, depending on who it is, obviously, and what kind of thing they're aiming for. Is this one rated R? Is it R?
I want to say it has to be because what I will say too, obviously I haven't seen the first one in a hot minute, but this one is definitely like gorier. I think I literally wrote in my little notes, I said like F word gnarly. Like I was like effing gnarly because some of those, like we see it, like Lukas Gage's character, it's just really good the way that they did it. It's super, super haunting. A lot more than I remember from the first one, but I could be wrong. But I think they amplified that. But then it's not that gratuitous gore like a Terrifier would be. It's like the perfect amount where like these effects are insane. The special effects, makeup, like shout out to everybody who worked on it in that regard. Even the music, whoever again penned those pop songs for Sky Riley, so good, so fun.
Oh, so the music's good too. That's good to hear.
Oh, the music's really good. Again, like I said, I want to stream her. If she gonna be out on Spotify, who knows?
How does she compare to homegirl M. Night Shyamalan?
Oh my God. Okay, first of all,
who's a better pop star?
I mean, in my opinion, again, because of the production, because of the outfits, because of all of that stuff, I have to go Sky Riley.
Okay.
And I also just wasn't. I thought everything having to do. I keep wanting to go back to like Trap, I guess. But everything having to do with Lady Raven in the film was the least interesting part of Trap. You know, like I just wasn't really impressed by what they did taking this idea. I thought Josh Hartnett just completely carried that film, and the girl who played his daughter. In this one, I mean, this whole film rides on her back. Like everybody else is just kind of completely secondary. We spend all the time with her. We're spending all the time in her head. And so her as a pop star and her as like an actress were both great.
Yeah, I think that's the big difference between I think Trap and this one is that Trap, Josh Hartnett's the main character, and then Naomi Scott's the main character. Real quick, I know you gotta go, Sabrina. Just real quick, some people in the chat. Joseph Week said, "What's up, First Cut? Thanks for watching." Johnny Dome said, "Is this live?" Yes, this is live. That's why we have so many technical errors. So thank you. And then Joseph Week said, "Haunting in Connecticut." Kyle Garner.
Yeah.
So.
Everything. Jennifer's Body, Haunting in Connecticut, Nightmare on Elm Street. He's just been in so many good films. I absolutely adore him. It's my dream for us to interview him on this channel one day.
Yeah, I'd be fired. Come on.
Putting that out into existence.
Right.
Yeah, we got it. We got Andrew Garfield in the lineup.
Yeah.
Newly single Andrew Garfield. We got Kyle Gallner. I mean, we living it up out here.